Blackspire Gorge has buried every jet that dared its shadows. Tonight, one pilot would try, and her name was Stormfalcon. The alert hit at 1710 hours. Not an exercise, not a drill. 12 armored carriers, 3 jammer trucks, and mobile SAMs were carving through Blackspire Gorge, heading straight for Orion Dam. If they made it, 60,000 civilians would be swallowed in floodwaters, and half the state would black out. F-35s had already scrambled and failed. Their sensors blinded, their speed too great, their wings too fragile for the gorge from the ridge. SEAL Phantom Recon could only watch dust plumes claw toward the horizon. Their commander's voice over the net was stripped of hope. 10 minutes until breach. Orion won't hold. The desert didn't roar. It waited. Heat shimmered across the flight line. Mechanics dragged boots toward shelters, lulled by routine. Soldier, report in where in the world are you watching from. Drop your city below in the comments. And if you stand with untold stories like Stormfalcon's, hit subscribe to join the mission. Among them moved Captain Selene Ward, grease on her hands, coveralls faded by years of solvents, badge loose on her chest. To everyone else, she was just a contractor, another tech invisible in the rhythm of ending days. But in the shadows of Bay 17 waited a different relic, an A-10C Warthog. Dull gray, ugly, ignored by young pilots who crowded the Raptors and Lightnings polished for air shows. The Hog wasn't built for glory. It was built for the ugly work taking hits, spitting steel back. Selene had sworn never to touch its throttle again. Years ago. She'd dropped her wings on a colonel's desk and walked away. The Air Force forgot her easily. Paperwork always did. Since then, she'd hidden in grease and silence, fixing warbirds for others until the sirens screamed. The first tone sliced the air, high and sharp. The second was low, primal, the kind that froze the blood. Selene stopped walking. Chaos erupted, crews sprinting for shelters, pilots bolting for jets. The PA boomed multiple hostiles inside Blackspire Gorge. Convoy with ECM. Estimated impact on Orion Dam 9 minutes. All close air support assets scramble. On the ComNet. Phantom Recon barked negative on Viper support. F-35s are blind. Jamming's too strong. One pass, then they're under the shield. A young crew chief shouted, "Who's current on the Hog's silence?" No one moved. Then a voice cut through. "Calm, steady. I am," heads whipped toward Selene Ward. The chief squinted. "Ma'am, are you even rated?" She raised her badge. The one no one read. Captain Selene Ward, 74th Fighter Squadron, call sign Stormfalcon. The words hit the hangar like a hammer. Even the oldest mechanic froze, wrench slipping from his hand. From the tower. Colonel Elias Rourke's voice cracked across comms. "Ward, you're not on flight status." Her eyes stayed on the horizon. "Your Lightnings can't fly that gorge. Your drones can't punch through the jamming. That Hog in Bay 17 can, and so can I." Static lingered. A single heartbeat of doubt. Then Rourke's voice came back. Low. Measured. Like a man placing his last bet. Crew her. Load heavy. 4 Mavericks, 3 for jammers. 1 in reserve. Full GAU-8 drum. Stormfalcon. You've got 1 run. Don't miss. The hangar exploded into motion. Ammo belts clinked. Rockets snapped home. Panels slammed shut. And in the center of it all, Selene Ward took her first step toward the Hog, the cockpit she had sworn she'd never enter again. Ammo belts rattled as they slid into the Hog's belly, each link heavy as brick. The JU-8 drum rotated with a steady thrum, a war hymn in steel. Rockets locked beneath stubby wings. Fuel lines hissed. Panels slammed shut. A voice barked from the deck. "Load her heavy. 4 Mavericks, 3 for the jammers. 1 held in reserve. Full payload." The math was final. enough to break the convoy's spine if the pilot didn't miss. Selene moved through the storm of motion, boots striking sure lines in the dust. She stopped at the hog's nose, where faded shark teeth grinned beneath years of sandstorms. With her glove, she brushed away grit, exposing a scar from Red Dagger Valley, a mission no one spoke of. Her whisper was for the hog alone. One more fight. Old girl. The latter groaned. The cockpit took her in like a tomb opening. Harness locked. Throttle slid under her palm. She had sworn never to sit here again. But wars don't honor oaths. Engines spooled alive, rolling low and deep. A growl you felt in your chest before you heard it. The tower crackled. Stormfalcon. Cleared immediate taxi. Blackspire ingress. Good hunting. Copy, Selene replied, voice steel wrapped in calm. She eased the throttles. The hog rumbled forward, like a chained beast scenting blood after years in darkness, across the open net. Commander Rourke of Phantom Recon murmured, not meaning to be heard if that really is Stormfalcon. Maybe this isn't lost yet. The runway stretched black and endless, glowing faint under the dying sun. 10 minutes until Orion drowned, less than 1 until she was airborne. The hog tore loose from Earth, climbing shallow. Altitude was luxury. Selene kept her wings scraping air just above the desert floor. The A-10 thrived where fast jets flinched, low, slow, ugly. Mean Stormfalcon was exactly where she belonged. Ahead. The jagged spires of Blackspire Gorge clawed at the sky. Shadows swallowed the last of the light. Her headset hissed. Sentinel net broke through the static Stormfalcon. Convoy sighted. 12 vehicles in 3 staggered columns. Jammers mid-pack. Recommend Maverick strike blind them first. Copy, copy. Selene's fingers traced invisible turns across the map on her display. What's between them and the damn silence? Then the answer no pilot wanted. Nothing. If they reach the spillway. Orion is gone. The dash clock bled minutes. 9 left. Selene dipped under the first ridge. The world shifted instantly. Open sky vanished. The turbine's roar turned into a heartbeat pounding against stone. Echoes chased her nose like war drums. Updrafts clawed at her wings, trying to rip her into rock. She trimmed hard, jaw locked, forcing the hog to ride the gorge like breaking a wild animal. Her pod feed flickered faint heat ghosts, then solid signatures. Stormfalcon. Be advised, ECM degrading our feed. Sentinel net will be dark in 10 seconds. Understood. Babysitter's gone. Just her and the hog now. She rounded the bend. Metal flashed in shadow. Then the whole convoy snapped into view. 12 armored shapes grinding forward. 3 jammer trucks crouched in the center. Antennas thrashing. Escort SAMs lit like hungry eyes, already searching for her heat. Selene slid the reticle over the lead jammer. Target 1. Good tone. Her thumb pressed. The Maverick leapt. A second later. Fire ripped the gorge open, the shockwave slapping her canopy. When the smoke cleared. The jammer was gone, nothing but a burning scar. The convoy reeled. Escorts swerved blind. Carriers broke formation. Selene dropped the nose, Pipper dancing over the chaos. Her finger tightened on the trigger. The GAU-8 roared. 7 barrels spun into a blur, vomiting 30mm shells that turned seconds into slaughter. The gorge convulsed under the thunder. The lead carrier split open, plates peeling back under the storm of depleted uranium. But the enemy wasn't blind. The second jammer lunged forward, weaving between stone pillars, its escort spewing tracer fire in wild arcs. The air lit up. Green and red streaks laced across Selene's canopy, threat receiver shrieking. She yanked the hog sideways, flares punching into the dark. A heat seeker clawed past her wing and burst against the cliff in a bloom of fire. Too many threats. Too many eyes. She couldn't dance forever. Selene shoved lower, hugging the gorge floor until her wingtips nearly brushed stone. The hog fought her in every turn, heavy and stubborn, but she drove it like a mule down a mountain trail patient, unrelenting. On her pod feed, the second jammer burned bright, escorts spraying desperate fire. Selene armed another maverick. Tone locked. Say goodnight. The missile skimmed the canyon floor, smashing the truck's axle. The blast flipped it end over end, fire blooming orange against the cliffs. Her warning receiver went silent. The jammers were gone. The sky opened. Stormfalcon. Phantom recon. Visual confirms jammers down. You're clear to finish it. Selene banked, nose dropping. The convoy below twisted like a wounded snake, still pushing for Orion. The GAU-8 growled again. Low and hungry. Whatever you're about to do. Stormfalcon, do it fast, Commander Rourke urged. Her lips curled without humor. Fast is for fighters. I'm bringing the storm. With the jammers gone, Sentinel Net surged back online, Stormfalcon. You are green across the board. Weapons free. Targets at your discretion. She didn't answer. The hog was already rolling, Pipper sliding over armor, through the gorge's broken mouth. Orion Dam gleamed pale on the horizon. If those carriers reached the spillway, everything behind it would drown. Stormfalcon, lead element 6 minutes from perimeter. Once they crest the road, strike window closes. 6 minutes, an eternity and an instant. Selene dove to 150 feet, cliff edges vibrating at her wingtips. She squeezed the trigger. The GAU-8 thundered, an escort ripped apart, spinning into stone. Another burst crushed a carrier, folding steel into fire. But the canyon fought back. A man-pad flash from the ridge. Missile Tone shrieked. She rolled, flares bursting. The warhead slashed past, heat haze rippling her canopy. Her breath stayed calm. Fear could wait. Another launch flash, same team. Desperate, she nosed down, walked the Pipper across the heat signature, and unleashed the GAU-8. Dust and shattered stone erupted, then a secondary blast cooked off their ammo. The sight vanished. Her display flared 2 carriers breaking formation, gunning for the access road. Not happening. She hissed. She armed her third maverick, thumbed release. The hog shuddered as the missile leapt. A heartbeat later, fire rolled out of the far bend. One carrier gone, one still alive, racing for Orion. Selene shoved the throttles. The gorge pinched until she had 30 feet clearance on either side. The hog groaned, but she forced it on. Stormfalcon. 2 minutes to dam perimeter. Sentinel Net snapped. No ordnance past that line. Copy, copy, she said flatly. The carrier loomed, weaving. It didn't matter. The hog was already steady. Her finger curled. The GAU-8 roared, drowning the gorge in thunder. Selene's canopy flared red. Warning lights cascaded left engine bleeding oil, hydraulics sinking, the stick heavy as stone. The hog wasn't just wounded. It was dying. Stormfalcon. Recommend immediate climb. Egress route Delta. Open sky extraction. Sentinel Net urged. Her reply was flat. Negative. Out there I meet. They'll finish me before I'm halfway home. A pause. Then the question no one wanted. What's your play? She shoved the stick forward. The hog dropped so low the landing gear nearly scraped stone. I'm taking the river scar cut. Shorter, tighter, 3 minutes faster. If she holds, we make it. The river scar wasn't a canyon. It was a wound walls pressed close, crosswinds snapping like whips. From above, it looked open. From inside, it was a coffin. Selene had flown it once in a simulator. There, missing a turn meant a red screen. Here, it meant fire on rock and silence eternal. Shadows swallowed her as she dropped in. Daylight shrank to a ribbon. Every twist demanded precision rudder tap. Fractional roll. Throttle eased a breath. Too fast and she'd overshoot. Too slow and she'd stall. The hydraulics bled with every movement. The stick sluggish. The left engine groaned like an animal that knew death was close. Stormfalcon, heat signature tracking. 2 o'clock low, sentinel net warned. She pressed tighter to the dry riverbed. Altimeter bled down 120, 185. Smoke curled from the bank. Mistletoe screamed. She rolled hard left, flares spitting. The warhead slashed past, wake rattling the hog. She steadied into the next turn, calm only because fear had been burned out of her long ago. The gorge widened briefly into a basin. That's when she saw it flatbed truck. Tarp pulled back. Twin-barrel autocannon waiting. It was an ambush. Her pipper slid. Her finger tightened. The GAU-8's feral roar shredded cannon and crew when the dust cleared. Nothing remained but wreckage. Her warning panel screamed again, hydraulics deep in the red. The hog's shudder grew constant, vibrating through her bones like a whispered deadline. Stormfalcon. Base command. 90 seconds to egress. Emergency crews hot. Copy. Her eyes never left the bend ahead. Then her threat display shrieked. Not small arms, not man-pad. Bigger. At the mouth of the cut. A vehicle-mounted SAM crouched, launcher angled to catch her climb. Whoever placed it knew she'd come here. Turning back was suicide. Time was gone. Selene bled throttle, making herself look crippled. Come on, she whispered. Take the shot, Locktone shrieked. Launch flash. She rolled hard right, flares bursting, letting the seeker chase heat. In the same motion, she swung nose on, her last maverick armed with a steady tone. Bite this. The missile leapt, a heartbeat later. The launcher dissolved in a black blossom of fire. The river scar ended in light. The walls fell away. The desert spread rust red and endless. Orion Dam shimmered safe in the distance. But Selene wasn't seeing victory. She was feeling her hog die beneath her hands' sluggish ailerons. Oil smoke seeping into the cockpit, fuel bleeding like lifeblood. Stormfalcon. Catastrophic loss confirmed. Recommend ejection. Base command urged. Her eyes flicked to the yellow and black handle. One pull, and she'd live. The hog would die alone in the sand. She pushed her hand away. Her voice was iron, negative. I'm bringing her home. Silence filled the net. Then Rourke's voice, low and steady. Then don't miss the runway. Ahead. The horizon shimmered. A silver line of tarmac cut through the heat haze, and every mile between was tearing the hog apart. The hog had nothing left to give. But it had carried her this far. The belly slammed onto the foamed runway, sparks fanning in twin trails of fire. Steel screamed against asphalt, the cockpit shuddering like it might rip itself apart. Selene held the stick centered, hand steady, riding the beast all the way down, yard by yard. The roar dimmed into a groan, then a hiss, then silence, for a moment. She didn't move, just let the quiet wrap around her. Then the canopy blew open. Cool air swept in, washing the smoke from her face. She dropped to the tarmac, boots crunching foam. Medics surged forward. She waved them off, her palm still pressed to the hog's scorched skin. You kept me alive, so I brought you back. The comms crackled, this time not sharp, not urgent, just steady, reverent, Stormfalcon. Orion Dam stands. You did it. Selene's eyes lifted to the horizon where the concrete wall gleamed in the fading light. Her answer was soft. No. We did. Across the barricades, silence reigned. Mechanics, pilots, even clerks stood frozen, watching her walk, Not limping, not stumbling, helmet low at her side, stride steady, past the fire crews. Colonel Elias Rourke waited. His words were low, for her alone. You disobeyed a direct order. Her gaze stayed forward. So did the convoy. A pause. Then his mouth twitched into the faintest shadow of a smile. You saved the dam. Saved the town. Saved thousands. I'll handle the paperwork. The young pilots stared at her like they were memorizing every burn and scar. Rourke's voice followed her line of sight. They didn't know who you were, but whoever sent that convoy, they did. And still, you finished. Selene stopped. Her voice was steady. Final. Then they should have known how I finish. In the locker bay. She peeled off her flight suit. Slow. Deliberate, like shedding armor. Beneath a folded coverall lay a patch black thread, a hawk stitched above a broken star. Stormfalcon. She pressed it into her chest pocket, warm, like it had never left. When she stepped outside again, the hog was gone, swallowed into hangar shadows. But the base felt different now. Alive. Awake. The intercom broke the night, calm and certain. Stormfalcon. Welcome home. Selene let the words settle. Not as a title, not as a call sign, but as something earned back, for the first time since she'd taken the sky. She smiled. Not for them, not for herself, but for the hog, for Orion still standing, for the ghosts that no longer haunted her because now they were flying with her.